Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Fangirls Only. This week, our special guest is Easy Honey. So, how are you doing today?
Woo woo! Hey, it's Webster. I'm only a quarter part of the Easy Honey gang, but we kind of got a little bit of time off in between tours, so we're all just kind of
Oh.
hanging. But I've gotten here for a second, and I'm doing great. We're a couple of us are gonna do some recording here in a few minutes. Well, I guess like an hour probably, and we're down in Charleston. So enjoying a nice sunny day, really.
How's tour going so far?
It's been good. The spring for us has been pretty nothing that's like go out for like 6 or 7 weeks at a time or like months at a time. It's kind of been go out for a couple weeks and come home for a couple days and in and out. So there's there's some positives to that and but the I won't say it's a negative, but and goes out for a long time, um, it feels more like a journey, and like if you're out for like 6 weeks and you're playing you're just like so, you know, you're so into the band. Meaning like you're just really like a well tuned up. I remember we played a gig at home and we had been touring for like maybe 4 or 5 weeks and just playing a ton, and it was like one of the first times we had done that. And we just came home and just we crushed it because we were just we you know once you play so much that it kind of frees yourself
Mm.
to improvise on the spot. That's pretty fun. And if you're like coming home for a few days and like kind of for not that you're forgetting this stuff, but then you go. We have a pretty large catalog, so we have a lot of songs to pull from. So you might not be remembering like how to like what is the chord here, but it's more just, oh, how can I do this even differently than I had thought?
So, following along with tour, what are some stops that you're most excited for? You're already like a few dates in, but is there any upcoming
Oh,
stops?
yeah, well, definitely Toronto because we haven't been to Canada yet. We haven't been out of the country yet as a band. We did do this. It's kind of a crazy story, but we went out to Hawaii in March and played about 6 or 7 shows out there, and so that's kind of like I consider it our like out of the country because it's a really long flight. We flew out of New York, and like in the time that you fly to Hawaii, you could like fly to like I don't know Rome or Norway or something. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, Toronto will be awesome. A couple of spots that we've been out to Colorado a few times, so we'll be there. And really all of July, we're hitting like almost every town in Colorado, doing 15 shows out there. So we're excited about those. And the other kind of joke we have is that in July it's so hot here in Charleston that like anywhere else we can get to not be here is fun. So Colorado's not a bad spot, and I always love like New York and DC and like kind of some of those bigger cities too. But and I'll tell this to a lot of people too. Like the band is so different in any place to play because like if you're Midwest or so much culture and things as you travel around out of the day, so much stuff and a lot of places like if you're traveling and playing, they might just be like, oh, well, like DC and New York, like, well, they're kind of the same in terms of, and because like, okay, you're rolling up to a venue and playing, and like, you might go to a bar or something. So it might feel kind of the same, but at the same time, it's really, it's really rewarding. And like, that's what's so important, I think, for like, when crowds come, it's like you have an effect on bands. Um, that's really the beautiful kind of relationship about it.
How did you guys come up with the name Easy Honey? Like, was there any other names that you chose before that one, or was it just like,
Um, yeah, so it's interesting. I'm the little brother to Selby, who he and Darby started the band. We met in college, and they're a few years older than I am, so they like did their college experience, and then I but we went to the same one, but they moved here, and then I went to school, and kind of COVID was happening, and so when I finished, I was able to join them, and then we actually got to start touring after the COVID stuff. But yeah, but they met in college, and so I'm telling it kind of like in third person a little bit. Is my I have to always preface that like I was there, but no, where we went to college is kind of like this small school in Tennessee, and it's sort of like in the Appalachian Mountain kind of range, and it's a real small, really to like go like if you want to go to a Walmart, like go to anything and get supplies or go get like barbecue or whatever you want to do, you have to drive down this mountain. So and there's like two sides to drive down. We can go like and they're up from one of the sides, and just saw like a billboard, and one said easy and the next one said honey, and they were just kind of starting the band, and they're like, oh, like it's good. I think there was like a little honey farm or something uh around there, but yeah, and it just kind of had like a nice ring to it for those guys, and it kind of, we always joke like develop more meaning over time to us of like, you know I go through a lot of to get to to get to like the sweet, I go through a lot of just not like, there's a lot of hard.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've also seen that your life has been really crazy recently and gonna be even more crazier with tour over the next few months. So how do you guys cope with this crazy schedule?
How do we cope with it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, we probably don't. Like, um y- just you know if you're in like school, or if you're in more normal jobs, you have a routine. You get up at the same time and like the same stuff. You drink your coffee or whatever, and exercise some, and so that's just kind of what we try to do the best we can, and like you know drugging it like super, just like um like that just it gets, when you're touring and playing, like that gets pretty old, and some people cope with it like that, which uh you know that's one way, and probably not a good long-term way. But yeah, like yeah, we just have a routine, and you know the set from like the night before, and like what we want to change, and throw new songs in there, and yeah, but it's plenty, sure. So there's not too much time. It's funny, like when you come off a tour, a lot of people feel this way. Like you just, it's not that you don't have anything to do. Typically these days we have a ton to do, with all the stuff we're not doing while we're on the road, like recording and things. But um, yeah, like, but you can be a little like, oh, like, what do I even do with myself? Because I'm not like waiting to like, sound check or like, go play the show. Like every show day is, it's funny. It's just there. It's not like we're not like nervous. It's just a little bit of anxiety, like because we want the show to go the best, and like connect with people the best we can, and do everything to prepare for that, the proper amount. But there's always like a little bit of like, I think for at least our group, like a little bit of adrenaline and negative anxiety, but just a little that surrounds show days.
I can imagine that like show days are probably like really stressful and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I mean it's a show. It's like if you ever went to school and the director is like running around like everyone, hey, get your costumes on and stuff, it's like that on like kind of a different scale, but you know that kind of thing. over and over.
And so, what do you guys like most about being musicians, and what do you not like most about being a musician?
I think what we all like most is like creating, and probably the most thing us as a group our own is like those feelings that you have on stage where you're like, man, that was like really a great moment. Like there's just something, it's just like the music, that's the beauty of music. Like it just hates at that certain time and it'll never happen again. And you do that in the studio too. And you're like everyone, there's just like because we're, our molecules and stuff are always like vibrating, a little bit. And so that's just really what's cool about music, being in a room and creating music, whether it's live or in the studio, you're still creating it together. Even if it's like the most, you know, even if it's not like you in a room playing together, everyone on an instrument, it's just like maybe one person's just like bong or something like hit the gong, you're still all vibrating and like so I think that's what we like most. And that's kind of what we're always like chasing are those types of feelings. But yeah, what we like least, oh man, I'm sure there's a couple of things, but I don't know. If it comes to me, I'll say it, but I don't have anything right now.
Out of all the music you guys have put out, which one has the best story? Like what the song's about?
Hmm. Yeah, I'll have pretty stories. Hmm. That's such a good question. well, I'll just tell the story. We're putting a song out next Wednesday. So I'll just tell that one because it's a pretty good story and kind of emblematic of like the greater project. But it's a song called "We Take Our Time," and about a year and a half ago, he kind of reconnected with if they up here. This is my brother's cat. I'm over it. Here, I'll show him. Wow. But anyways, he'll be jumping around. So we reconnected with our friend who we made music together in high school with and had been friends kind of growing up and he was a really great musician and he went to this school called Belmont in Nashville and he um like we just probably not kept in touch and so we were like, hey, like he's kind of a producer and well, he is a producer and but to us, we didn't really know at the time. We were like, yeah, he's kind of like we should like do some stuff with him and at this beach house. That's our drummer's grandparents' beach house. Like that's about it's about like probably a couple hours away from here. So and we had just spent about a year like recording in town and it's that same thing. It's like as like touring when you're coming in and out of town, you're like getting your home life kind of like mixed up, but like our joke is, you're doing your great guitar part, but then you have to go let your dog out or something. And so we prefer to do it at least right now, like get out of town and like just kind of not solely focus on that, but just be immersed in it. And so we immersed ourselves in that, our buddy at this beach house, and um, yeah, we just like stayed up really late a bunch of the nights because we were just trying to get as much done as we can, and a lot of ideas were coming, and so this was one of those ideas, and yeah, it just felt really new for us. The song kind of has like some auto tune vocals on it, and it was it was initially just tuned just to if you sing something live as like a scratch vocal, what people will do is they'll just like put a little tuning on it just to like be like, hey, this is sound like when try it a few times and like get it right. And that's what, people like splice them together and stuff. But um we just were like, hey, it kind of sounds cool like that and that's different. And so we just kept that and kind of, refined that a bunch of times. But yeah, that's not really a great story of like what the song is about, but it's a great story like to me in the sense of like reconnecting with friends, and it's a cool song.
I can't wait to hear it. That's
Yeah,
good.
and I guess I'll reiterate that it's a different sound for us, and I think that was just like it was a new experience for us to be back with this with an old friend, but as new, you know.
Okay, so this is the last question. And
Okay.
if you guys were to recommend your music to anyone watching that hasn't heard of you guys yet, what song would you recommend them to listen to first?
Hmm. Uh, I would probably recommend um coincidentally our most streamed song, but it's called Homesick, and we chose that as the first single off of our new record that's coming out, and I think we chose it just because it was really like everyone had put it was just such a collaborative effort. Like some songs, like one person has more of an idea and develops it more, and we kind of all chase it down together. But um, it's not that any are better or worse, but this one just felt really like fully us. And we had a song like the year before that was kind of similar, and we were like, that was kind of like our, I think, our refined version of that. And yeah, it's a good tune. And one kind of funny thing about it is when we had met with that buddy, his name is Adam, and so he had driven from Nashville, and he had like his thing weren't working, and so like usually when you're recording, you're like someone plays something, and then like everyone sits in there, and then like you listen back through the speakers and be like, oh, was that good? Like, and anyways, his weren't working, so like only he was able to hear like how everything was sounding. So he just like had his headphones on, and we were just like, hey, like, do you like it? And he's like, yep, that's good. And then it kind of just kept us like moving really quickly and not like second guessing ourselves. And so, everyone just kind of like did their part, and like, someone would just step outside and hang out on the porch or like whatever. And we wouldn't be like totally on top of each other. And so it was just, he was kind of the conductor of it in a cool way. And so much of our like latest album project with him, he was such a big part of it, and kind of like our fifth guy. And so it just felt super collaborative in that way, and I felt like it's really true to us, and like in our kind of musical style, and it's like catchy but like pretty complex, the arrangement. So yeah, I recommend that one.
It is a good one. I listened to it a few days ago. So,
Okay, great, thanks.
no problem. Okay, so that was all the questions. So thank you so much for calling on. It was great having you.
Okay, thanks so much. In Toronto, and
Yeah.
yeah, keep
See
keep
you.
on listening. See you
No.
later.
See you. Bye.